Hello everyone, my name is Alex, and I'll be showing you how to make your very own Robot Ninja foam mask. I will be going over how to export from a program called Pepakura, which is a program that takes 3D models and unfolds them into 2D patterns to Adobe Illustrator to make registration marks, bringing it into Cricut Design Space to cut out the patterns. Once the patterns have been cut out, we will begin the foam crafting process. Now, what you will need is our cardstock, our X-Acto knife, a pen or any marker, a cutting mat, and any adhesive such as a hot glue gun or barge cement. Finally, one of the most important pieces, our craft foam. I have chosen to use 5mm foam due to its thickness. You do not want to have something so thick you won't be able to bend it or fit it on your head, and you don't want something so thin you can't even glue it. Now, let's begin. First, if you have not done so already, you will need to download Pepakura Designer. Pepakura Designer is a Windows application which makes unfolded patterns from 3D models, and you can either go to their main website, such as this, or you can go to Google and just type in Pepakura. Now, I will be showing how to do this method with the free version. And as you can see, Designer and Viewer come together, so you only just need to click on this button here to download it. After installing Pepakura Viewer, you can now download PDO files associated with the program. To find these files, there are many resources you can look into, such as the 405th Halo Armor Making Community, or the 501st Star Wars Community. Which the files that would be placed on here are able to be downloaded for free. However, you can also go onto other websites such as Etsy where people have specifically made the models to be made into foam armor. I have located this Robot Ninja helmet that was modified to be used with foam. Now, let's take a look at it. Now, let's upload the file. As you can see, here is the file uploaded, and it's spread out onto multiple sheets of paper. Our next step will be to go to File and then Print to PDF. Select the location where you can find it. I will be saving it to my desktop. Now, our next step is to open up Adobe Acrobat. However, if you do not have Adobe Acrobat, the library has this program. So feel free to put the files onto a flash drive and come down to the library to upload it to the computer. Now, after opening Adobe Acrobat, we need to separate this PDF file into multiple parts to import to Illustrator. This is how you do it. Head over and select Organize Pages. We need to click the Split button. Now make sure that this area has 1 pages on it. If it's anything more than 1, it will not come out right when you're done splitting it. Now click on the Options menu, and this is where you can select a specific folder if you wish to do so to export your files. I have already selected a file and exported it to Genji Regular. Alright, the document has been split up into 7 individual documents. Now, we are ready to use Illustrator. If you do not have Illustrator, the library does have it on the computers in the studio, so you can complete this in the studio if you wish. Go ahead and open up Illustrator, and make sure to create a new document. We will be using letter size paper. Now, we need to import the PDFs that we just split up. To do this, go into File, scroll down to Place, and place the first document out of the 7 that we have right here. Now try your best to get this on the center of the page. To do this, first click the horizontal align button. Now, click the vertical align button. This page has now been centered on the document perfectly. Next, we will be needing to make a registration mark. This is extremely important. Even though the cutting mat on the Cricut says it can cut a 12 by 12 material, there is actually a 0.25-inch no-cut border on it. So, for the Cricut tool to not go off the page, the registration mark is key, and you will see that later on. To make the registration mark, select the rectangle tool and click anywhere on the document. This dialog will come up, and we will enter 0.25 space INCH for inches. Do the exact same thing on the bottom. 0.25 INCH. The default increments of Illustrator are in points. So even though you added in 0.25 inch, it will correlate to the correct amount in points. Click OK. As you can see, we have our registration mark right here, but we should just fill it in with any color. I am going to choose black. To do this, click on this area right here. Now that we have it selected, we need to go into the swatches. Click black, and now it is fully selected as black. Now head up to the top, and then we're going to click horizontal align left, and then vertical align top. This will align it in the top left-hand corner perfectly. With it aligned, we just have to set the distance away from the edge. We can do this by entering 0.25 inch in the transform section in this area. Now we are done for the first document. We will now be exporting it as a PNG file. To do this, go back to File, go to Export, and Export As. I already have some pre-exported in this document, and if you want to, you can name it any custom name. I'm just going to be naming it Page 1. Click Export, and then make sure it's saved at 72 ppi. Then click OK. The document has been exported now as a PNG file. To do the rest of the documents, you'll be repeating the same step. However, you will not need to make a new file for the rest. To continue importing the PDFs, go to the layer panel located here. Open it up. And as you can see here, this is our current PDF document right here. So all you have to do is click this little eye right here, and it will make it invisible. Now, proceed to the same steps as I talked about earlier. File, Place, select the next document, place it onto the document, align it, and here's your next document to be exported. There you have it. You have completed the hardest part of this process. Now we will begin uploading to Cricut Design Space. Now, for Cricut Design Space, you can actually make your own account for free. I would suggest this so then you can keep all your files in your own account to be visited later in case you wanted to make something again. Select New Project. Now, since we opened up a new project, we have to upload our files that we just exported. To do this, head over to the Upload area. Select Upload Image, and then browse to find our images. Here's our first image that we just exported. Click Open. Once open, click on the Simple selection over here. Click Continue. And now, with the magic wand tool that is already pre-selected, click on any white area on the document that is not within the patterns. Now, you can erase this little area down here so the Cricut does not cut it up later on. Again, click Continue, and now make sure to save as a cut image. We are not printing this out. We are going to be using this to just cut on the paper. Click Save, and now here's your document. Now, you will click on that document that you just uploaded. Click Insert Image, and the document has now been uploaded. Now, this may happen when you've exported it from Illustrator. The size of the image may not correlate to what was actually in Illustrator. So we're going to need to change that. To do that, we just need to go to the size area and type in 8.25 for the width. The height will also change accordingly to be the correct size. Now, since that has been changed, we will now go into Make It. Now, as you can see, the registration mark is at the note right up against the no cut border. And so if we were going to be placing a piece of paper, it will be a perfect 8.5 by 11. Now, we just have to follow the on-screen instructions to cut this document. Here we have the model. Now, this is a little semi-pro tip when working with foam as a material. There are many ways you can get sharp corners using foam. To do that, you would be cutting the foam on an angle. Take a look at this representation. Here, you can see that by cutting both parts inwards, you get a piece that creates a sharp corner going outwards. When cutting the foam outwards, you have a sharp corner that's going inwards. This method also allows you to add subtle angles for what you are making. Now, let's go back to Pepakura to take a look at the model. For example, this area will be cutting inwards on both these pieces to get a sharp angle. Now, I've already traced and marked the areas which way I will be cutting. When cutting with an X-Acto knife, be careful. You may have noticed on the mask that there are not a lot of patterns for a mask as detailed as this. Well, you're right. To save on paper, this model was cut up and mirrored in a way that means the patterns can be flipped and traced again to have the parts on the left side of the helmet instead of just on the right side. Now, I've already traced the patterns, as you can see. I've already marked which way I'll be placing my blade. Slowly cut the foam, and if you go out of what you marked, it's okay. As a famous artist once said, there are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. Now we have our patterns. Now you can choose how to attach them. My preferred method is using barge cement. This contact cement is highly used by foam cosplayers for its ease and quick ability to attach to other pieces, though there are some cons. Some of the cons are it can only be purchased online, and it does have an odor when used. The pros of it, well, it is quick to dry and to attach. Once the pieces are attached, they're not coming apart, and if you try to pull them apart, they will rip. Or you can use the hot glue gun. You can get a hot glue gun almost anywhere, and it's my suggestion when using a crafting one to get a bigger one. I myself had an issue when my hand would start cramping up from pulling the trigger so often for trying to cover even a small area. Now, even though the hot glue gun is a great tool, there are some cons. When placing the glue onto a piece, you're going to have to do it in small, specific sections, and you're going to have to wait for it to cool down completely. Now that we have our options, let's attach the pieces together. While using barge cement, you only need to use a small, very thin layer covering both ends that are going to be placed together. Once you have placed the contact cement on the foam pieces, you just have to wait for them to dry. Now that the pieces are dry, let's attach them together. Make sure to do this slowly since you'll really only have one chance to attach these pieces correctly. And there you have it. That's how you do the barge cement method. Now, let's get on to the hot glue gun method. Now, let's attach some pieces with the hot glue gun method. With this method, you only need to apply glue to smaller areas compared to the barge cement. Here, let's see. Now you do not need to apply glue to both sides. You only need to attach it to one piece of foam and then hold it together until it has completely cooled down. Now depending on how much glue you put on, this either may be quick or it may take a while. That's why I was saying to do one small section at a time instead of doing one large section. If you do have some glue that seeps up from the seams, you can actually peel that away, but just be careful because the glue may still be hot, and also you do not want to rip the foam when peeling it back. Now we have both of these sections completed with the different methods. As you can see on the left right here is our hot glue gun method. You can see some of the parts have seeped up a little bit, but that can be taken care of in post-processing. And here we have the barge cement method. As you can see, it's nice and smooth, though you can see some little shiny areas from some of the barge cement that seeped up a little bit, but that can also be quite easily taken care of in post-processing. Here we have one helmet made with the hot glue gun. For the hot glue gun method, it was a bit challenging, specifically for certain smaller areas, kind of awkward to hold in place, waiting for the glue to cool down completely. Though what is really nice, you can get these materials from any craft or hardware store, and there's no obnoxious fumes that come off of it. Though the time that it took was longer compared to the barge cement method, which could be a bad thing if you are rushing. Though if you like taking your time, this is a good method. Now for the barge cement. Attaching the pieces for this helmet was quite easy, especially if you got it right on the first try. I myself made a couple of mistakes, which made me have to go back and recut new pieces of foam from trying to pull them apart and ripping them. Otherwise, it was really easy to attach the parts together, and I did not have to wait for it to cool down since the cement sets quickly. This method was much easier and quicker in my opinion, though if you're not used to the fumes, it might give you a headache, so make sure to work in a well enough ventilated area. To end off with, when making this helmet, it does not have to be perfect. Everyone starts at some point. And if you do decide to go to a convention with what you created, don't be discouraged if you think it's not good enough. To quote a cosplayer, Misa on Wheels, cosplay is not a contest of who can be the best of a certain character. Cosplay is a collaboration of those who have the most fun celebrating that character. Thank you for watching this video, and if you would like to see any more of these, please let us know at studio@pclib.org or leave a comment below if you are able to. Goodbye, and have a nice day.